Providence, Rhode Island, a city of 190,000, the capital of the smallest state in the Union. While Providence was still eerily quiet, recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, the sound of engines ripped through the night. Curious, I headed towards the sound to investigate. I got the impression that there was more going on than what met the eye.
My name's Kyle McLaughlin. I am the president of 401 Street Life. This is my madness. And the car scene, I just kind of grew up in it. Like, my family's always had hot rods and motorcycles, so this has always been like something that I've just had a passion about, you know? And growing up, I discovered this place called India Point, and it was just chaos. Lots of burnouts and crazy cars, supercars, exotic cars, muscle cars, everything would just show up there. We'd all hang out, and that's what really brought the passion for me. And right now, I have 6 cars. I have an 88 Monte Carlo.
Okay.
It's dropped in the front, lifted in the back, so it sits like this, right down like the old school muscle cars. And I took the stock 305 out of it, put in a built 350. These kids need to shut up. I started the group called 401 Street Life, and then I started holding meets, and it grew from a couple people to a couple hundred, and now I hold events where we'll get anywhere from 800 to 1,500 cars at any given time. Like, we average about 500, 600 cars every other Friday here.
We had our page a year ago, and we have about 6,000 members now, which isn't bad for a year, on the Facebook group 401 Street Life. So, I mean, we're just gonna keep growing and see where it goes, you know what I'm saying? We all try to support each other. Like, they'll come to our events, we'll go to theirs, you know what I'm saying? We make sure we share, you know what I'm saying, the wealth in a way. So it brings the place's business, and it helps us grow. We don't get anything from this. We don't charge people to come in here. We're doing it for the people.
Do you consider this car an extension of yourself?
Oh, yeah, all my cars. Definitely all my cars are extension of myself. They have like a little twist of me in them and tastefulness. It reflects me as an artist more than anything. You'll see the artist in it. So it definitely, I definitely see a reflection of myself in my cars.
This was more than just a pastime. These cars were an extension of their owners, who built them in their image. No one made this more apparent than Saren.
I've always wanted a hearse, and they're not very common. So when he was telling me about the car meet, I was like, all right, I want to show her off. Let's see, as far as her, she is a 2000 Cadillac Sayers in Scoville. She's great. She's built out of Cadillac DeVille body. I have always wanted one. I was about 8 years old, and I had seen these 2 kids get out of a hearse, and they were all like punk and, you know, the mohawk and everything like that, and I was fascinated with it. And as, you know, I grew up, I became very interested in the field of, you know, mortuary sciences. I was going to go for pre-med to be a coroner. I find death very comforting. I also collect like a lot of embalming tools. I have a vintage embalming machine. I'm not much of a social butterfly, but you know, when it comes to the cars, a hearse is not very common, and I love her so much that I just want to share her with everybody and just talk about, you know, my passion for her. Very interesting cars. A lot of people get creeped out by them, but I'm myself creepy, as you know, Lydia from Beetlejuice said, you know, I myself am weird and unusual. Well, you know, this is perfect for me.
In these early interviews, I detected an air of defensiveness. Despite the appeal of the car as a form of self-expression and community building, I felt there was something else going on.
I don't think it has 2 steps. You can't prove it. Is that a Corolla?
I posed everyone the same question.
What's the craziest thing you've seen? Done or seen?
You talking legally or illegally?
Either way.
I've seen some pretty nasty drag races. I've seen, we're talking like 1,400 horsepower cars lay it down doing like 8-second passes on the street. Like just straight up wheelies down the road, spraying nitrous the whole time. I've seen cars wreck. I've seen people run from the cops. Honestly, every day in our life is like a movie in this scene. We literally live fast and furious in real life.
India Point's just crazy, man. Like, we take that shit over all the time. It was just non-fucking stop. I mean, everything under the sun is there. I seen Lambos racing there. Hirachis was out there. Bro, it was wild.
I hate takeovers.
What's a takeover?
Takeovers like when people just like go in the middle of the intersection, drift around, make a bunch of noise, do stuff, hit people, hit cars. It's all reckless.
They just go in a parking lot and just do burnouts, and it's just like a bunch of cars, just people like literally took over a city. Like they literally call it a takeover. They literally take over the city. That's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Everybody showed up after Corona and fucking just ruined it, doing burnouts everywhere. And
bouncing off
that's most of it, you know, the idiots that you got to deal with.
We tried
that's
it.
what ruins it.
We always have spots, like 4 or 5 spots. If the cops come, we just straight burnouts. Donuts and every Thanksgiving, every year. Rain, snow, shine, no matter what.
Tragically, I got into a real bad accident with this thing. It was really bad. The driver's side rear tire, you can see right here, blew out on me. The only wheel that was good was the driver's side. This one right here blew out on me, and I just spun out. I couldn't control it. I was happy. I walked out of the car. I mean, the whole car was crumbled. I didn't have my seatbelt on, I'll be honest. I was in shock, so when shit happens, you're like, I jumped out of the car quick, I shut it off, obviously. It still ran. I just couldn't feel my body, my shoulder. I took the passenger seat out with my shoulder. My ribs took out the center console. If you look at this one, I didn't go to the hospital when it happened because I didn't want to pay that fee, like the hospital, you know what I mean? Like, but I was definitely in mad pain. Like, it hurt. Like, I know I don't take ibuprofen, I don't do nothing. I had my girl giving me shits like Tic Tacs.
Honestly, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it was a while back. It was back in the Sumner Tunnel. 2 guys were racing motorcycles, and one of them hit the guardrail on the side, and he literally got split in half. Like whole tunnel just smelled like pure metal. That's what the blood splattered everywhere, just making the whole tunnel smell like metal. It was horrible. Well, I saw a whole bunch of people stopping recording. I'm just like, nah, out of respect for them, I'm not gonna record. But then you see videos just pop up on social media, Twitter, Facebook.
That's fucked up.
And it was like, shit.
That's so fucked up. What's the craziest thing you've seen on the road?
Oh boy. It's not like, it's kind of a heavy topic, but the biggest thing that's ever really happened to our crew was we were on our way to a meet one time, and one of our crewmates was unfortunately killed on the road because he got flattened by a Jeep. He was like cut off and then run over, and he didn't make it. But
Sorry.
we had his memorial like the day after it happened.
Okay. Are you scared that something like that could happen to you?
I mean, I am, but at the same time I'm not, because when I drive, I feel like I'm connected to the road, and I feel like I'm reading the road rather than the road just like predicting and doing things like to me, myself. Like, I feel like I could read somebody that's in front of me in traffic pretty well, but that's because I've had a lot of like experience on the road, and I've also been in a few accidents myself, so I know how to like depict and like pull apart that kind of like situation, you know what I mean? And I can just react to it. So I haven't really been like scared in a sense to drive after my other couple accidents that I've had, just because like I feel like it's just primed me to be who I am today behind the wheel.
My interviews had taken a morbid turn. 30% of fatal accidents in the state are a result of speeding. There seemed to be a generational divide between the older, law-abiding enthusiasts and the more risk-prone youngsters. What could motivate them to take such risk? I headed to Cranston to ask them myself.
I'm usually good at this. Why? Where are you from?
I'm from the UK.
So why are you here? How are you
here?
here? Sorry.
I'm studying here.
Welcome here.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're in Rhode Island, dude.
I'm Chris with Dylan Automotive Group. I'm a professional photographer and I specialize in automotive photography. Put it this way, if there was a brawl and there was car guys on one side and the general public on the other, the car guys would all group together. When you share common interests with a group of people, it's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a brotherhood almost. I mean, and a sisterhood. I can't leave out because there's female car enthusiasts as well, just as many as there are guys. My daughter, semi-interested in cars, short attention span. She's 9 years old, so you know when she gets older, she'll say, "I grew up around cars because of my dad," just like I did. Maybe she'll be into it, maybe she won't. Maybe she'll show her boyfriend how to change a tire. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Think you're gonna spend your life doing cars, driving, building? Yeah.
Like right now, I'm still doing what I was doing when I was younger. I'm still towing cars with my dad, but now I'm actually towing cars for my dad because I got my license. So I'm doing all this stuff for him. He's just in the office making all the calls and all that shit. Yeah.
Why do you do this? Like, why do you drive, do you think?
I guess when you're by yourself, sometimes it's relaxing. When you're with your friends and you're having a good time, it's even better. But just to me, driving is just relaxing. If I'm mad or sad or something, I just go drive and I'll be good.
Beginning of last year during quarantine, you know, we were all in lockdown, nothing really to do. I filed for unemployment, got a couple of checks, and I bought my 1991 Mazda Miata. All throughout that process, I just got more and more into the car scene. Met some amazing people, and I couldn't wish it for anything better. I befriended a lot of people here, and you do that because everybody's welcoming. If you respect the car scene, they're going to respect you back, and the people as well.
In post-pandemic Rhode Island, the car scene had provided youngsters with an escape and a sense of community.
Who's the better driver?
Oh, shit. It depends, yo. If we're doing drag racing, I'll say it's him. But if we're hitting like some corners, cutting up traffic, something like that, that's on me.
We haven't really tested. We haven't honestly had the opportunity
to test. Track though.
Yeah, but that was also my first time there. Yeah, though. When you just like watch it and you just like, I don't know, it's just a feeling like you just don't worry about anything else. I do a burnout, line it up, and all my nerves go away. It's just like you lock in. And it lasts for a while though. It kind of just like
you get like the shaky knees.
Nah.
You don't get that?
Yeah.
If you're doing some crazy shit in a car, like you're gonna get out after your knees are gonna be like, wow, like I almost just died or something like that. Like, that's just the adrenaline really pumping through you.
Yeah, that kind of went away from me. Not really shaky. Like I would be like, yo, this is dope. Yeah. But like that like shaky foot and like really like wow, that kind of went away from me, to be honest. Like I kind of got used to it.
The biggest adrenaline rush, I don't think it was on a car either. It was on a four-wheeler running from the police in Providence. I don't know if you should put that in the, what do you call it? I don't know if I'm getting myself in trouble right now, right? Mexico is like a term that people say when they're doing something illegal.
It's the place you go. That's not to go do your stuff. It's Mexico. You take a trip out to Mexico. Wherever that might be, I can't describe. No, you know.
Not in a place related to any authorities in the USA.
I felt I had to go to Mexico to see it myself. One of my contacts brought me along to a drag race. I knew the risk I was taking, both legal and physical, but I was gripped by an adrenaline rush of my own. Footage.
What you mean? I'm at a race right now. What you talking about?
Say no. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He had him. Thank you. Oh, cooked it right there.
Ready?
It's hard to describe the feeling you get at these high speeds. At the moment of acceleration, it's almost like the body is confused by the momentum, reacting in a tingling, terrifying ecstasy. My moral considerations fell away.
Because, well, if you pick up your phone, you understand. I've been at the meet all day, and I'm with 2 individuals in my back seat from London and Europe and all those other crazy stuff. And I'm dropping them off near Thayer Street, and I was thinking if you was hungry, being considerate. And now I'm not gonna get you shit.
As our adrenaline rush faded, the conversation took on a more sober tone.
Yeah, I seen all the bad stuff. It's everywhere, you know what I mean?
What's the bad stuff?
Huh?
What's the bad stuff?
People getting shot, stabbed, killed. I've been stabbed 4 times. So it's like, I lived it. I know what it is to live in the hood. Like, I didn't want to get stabbed, but I got jumped by a couple of guys and they stabbed me. I didn't want that, but like that's the life I've been through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I leave that behind. Like, one of my car guys is like a family, so I get away from that.
So you're saying that the car culture helps you?
Yeah, of course.
Stay out of
I'd
trouble.
rather do this than go to the club.
I had mixed feelings. On one hand, the car culture provided community, self-expression, and an escape. On the other, its illicit side put lives at risk and threatened not only the culture, but innocent bystanders. In a world defined by the aesthetics of danger and machismo, I found a group of people who seemed almost accustomed to death. And then there was the elephant in the room. Law enforcement. Throughout my interviews, the police came up time and time again, mostly as anonymous enemies.
The police really just don't like what we do. The fact that we just have cars in general, they seem to like, hey, like, if you ever went to like their police station, there's like a need for speed most wanted bulletin board and my face is somewhere over there. Like,
I secured a ride along with Providence PD to hear their perspective.
I'm Patrolman Darren Anderson, D-A-R-R-I-N, Anderson, and my badge number is 550. We don't necessarily have an issue with the cars, and we like respect their culture, but sometimes some of the modifications are illegal. Some of the modifications, like to exhaust, actually make them sound like they're shooting like a gun. So we get calls a lot that are shots fired. We also get a lot of complaints about the loud noise associated with the cars. We have a couple of spots in the city that, you know, used for like that type of maybe street racing or whatever you would call it. So I'm gonna take you over to India Point Park and you'll see the road, and it's been a while, but the road used to be nothing but burnt tires. It was to the point where it's so bad that we actually have to have a detail there every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Associated with the driving is you got people drinking and driving, you got people smoking and driving. I actually responded there once where it was so many people that it was like very dangerous because we were totally outnumbered. Hold it! What if they hit a pedestrian? Well, that happens. It happens. It might not be publicized all the time, but it does happen.
A high school senior is dead following a crash on 95 South this morning.
State police say 5 people, all in their teens and early 20s, were in this car when it collided head-on with a parked truck.
It's a public safety issue, right? So part of our job is to prevent loss of life, damage to property. But a lot of the people that are like die-hard enthusiasts, they actually respect, they get it.
I went to the car scene with my boyish interest in supercars, lowriders, and speed. What I found instead was a tight-knit community, a group of people united not only by their automotive interest, but a similar set of needs: self-expression, family, excitement, and escape. Yet there was a divide, a younger generation driven towards risk, and an older one in a scene they no longer recognized. In the summer of 2021, when illness lingered in the air, some took danger into their own hands. These young men seemed united in a sort of brotherhood, and I too was fascinated by the possibility that there might be another world, an underworld, coming out only at night.
Hey, get out of the front! Holy shit! Hey, get out of the front! Holy shit!
I felt I'd caught the dying embers of a subculture, as even the old American fixation on cars declines with our generation. Kyle continued as a repo man and security guard. Brandon returned to his studies at Johnson Wales University. Drew continued as a tattoo artist. And George still works at Toyota. Reviewing my last interview with Brandon, I can't help but remember my morbid curiosity, my own sense of youthful invincibility, the things that brought me to the car scene in the first place.
A Ripta bus hit me as I was coming off of the highway. Like, I was parked on the side waiting for my parents, and then they told me to get behind them in traffic after they passed me. And I looked both ways, there was nobody coming. And I pulled out and I cleared the first car that I was parked behind, and then I got hit into the second. Like, my entire driver's side was completely concaved in, like I couldn't even get out, they had to pry me out. My whole front end was smashed up in accordion and shit like that. I got a new car. The only other thing that I've really done is my front grille.
Has your opinion changed of like...
Not necessarily. My opinion hasn't really changed on vehicles. Like, It wasn't really my fault. I got hit by a city bus that was speeding. They killed an elderly person that they were holding on the bus. They went into cardiac arrest after the impact happened, and then so they have a lawsuit on them already, and I'm probably going to sue them for distress because I lost my vehicle, and that thing kept me happy. But it is what it is. I get to restart on this thing, make it what I wanted to make it. So yes, it is dangerous, but at the end of the day, you really need to know what you're doing, or else like you're just not going to be effective behind the wheel. Like, you need to have road awareness. You need to like know where cops sit and like how to handle a police officer if you do get stopped. And like speeding in general, I mean, yeah, everybody does it, but it's still not the safest. But if you do know what you're doing and like you do it in a safe area, then you shouldn't really have too much to worry about.